Arms, punching, grabbing, getting your ass handed to you in free-for-alls. Arms has it all, even legs. And based off the global test punch, it looks like we may have a pretty solid fighter on our hands. So here's why I think you should play Arms, based on the global test punch. So when you first load up Arms, you get given a very, very brief tutorial. Do this to punch, this to grab, this to block, and here's jumping and dashing. To move, you tilt both controllers in the direction you want to go. Surprisingly, this works well and never got mixed up as a punch as a mistaken input. What really impressed me is playing with a controller didn't feel any better or worse than the motion controls. So it really is just a preference to how you want to play, and despite rumours, you can tilt/curve the punches on a regular controller. Just tilt the analog stick in the way you want to curve the punch. With this, thankfully, if you want to play on the tablet, you can. It's just as much fun as playing with motion controls on the TV, whichever is your preference. So after you're given a brief rundown of the controls, you're thrown into the deep end of ass-kicked pool, where you will drown in your own demise. By which of course I mean the first 30 minutes or so you will lose. A lot. Now the global test punch was online lobbies only, so when the full game releases you will be able to train against the CPU before fighting against people better than you. So my experience with the training will be different when the full game releases on June 16th. You pick up the way to fight easily enough, but making your brain perform arm movements rather than just pushing a button is a surprisingly difficult task. Like most people I'm guessing, at first I wildly threw punches and grabs and got chummy with the floor and the opponent's fists. However, I persevered on, and about 30 minutes in, I won my first match. Playing as front cover character Springman, I started to have a hot streak, winning multiple matches in a row. This is where the controls really started to click, and I really started to enjoy playing the game. It's amazing how the simple act of moving your hands and arms to fight, like you would in real life, is so alien when playing a game. After getting used to the controls, this game hooked me in, like being grabbed by extendable arms. The fights are fast-paced, well-balanced, no arms or characters felt overpowered, and the courses are well-designed and interesting. So all these mechanics work well with 1v1s or even 2v2 matches, the latter being a hectic brawl but still fun. However, free-for-alls have issues. A 3-person free-for-all, for example, 2 players will duke it out and the third will stay as far back as possible. Then they pick off the winner of the 1v1. This happened literally every single match. The main issue is that it's last man standing, not point or KO based. This meant that the person who could stay out of the initial 1v1 fight the longest would win overall. There's not even a second place prize, so even if you won that initial fight against that other person, you're not going to stand a chance against another one with such a little health, and you're going to get nothing for it. Thankfully, there is a simple fix to this. Make it points based or even multi-stock based, like Smash Bros. This means to win you have to get involved rather than spectating until the last second. Hopefully the developers see this from the test punch and tweak the rules before release. The only other thing that needs improving is switching target when facing multiple opponents. On the controller this is not too bad with just a simple press of the Y button. However, on the motion controls, you have to push here. And it's not terrible, but it could just as easily be switched to the L trigger, as this only does what the right R trigger does as well. So you could just use that for changing target. Other than the fights, the demo also included volleyball mode. This is a fun mode reminding me of the madness of Wii Sports Tennis, constantly waggling the motion controls to hit ball back, however with much more accuracy now. However, unlike Wii Sports Tennis, this ball has a bomb inside of it that goes off after so many seconds regardless of where it is. This can be annoying at times. It feels like the timer should probably be a bit longer, or the score count could be higher. Currently I think it's about 5 points. But otherwise this is a fun, enjoyable mode, a couple of tweaks and it'd be great. Aside from the fighting mechanics themselves, The demo gives a good taste of the characters and arms on offer. I didn't quite play all characters on offer, but got to play Springman, general all-rounded character. I got to play Ninjara, faster but weaker. Master Mummy, the tank, heavy and strong but slow, but he also doesn't flinch as often from punches. Helix, a rather weird moving character with optional shield arm, and he can also stretch his body up or shrink it down in order to avoid punches. And Ribbon Girl, who feels a lot like Springman, a very all-round character, maybe a little bit faster. The arms themselves range from light and fast, mid-ranged and heavy. Heavy are slower, but will beat lighter arms back in a clash. Lighter arms are fast, but weak, and mid-weight balances between the two. The variety in arms was interesting as well, ranging from regular boxing gloves, easy to use, mid-power and weight, boomerang arms, spins around the back of the opponent to attack them, slow, but is good for a sneak attack. Laser arms allows you to fire off a powerful laser. It's very slow and obvious it's going to happen, but if it hits, it's a hell of a lot of damage. Shield arms, basically allowing you to block rather than just attack, and there was loads of others as well that I didn't get the chance to try. The arenas are surprisingly interesting as well, each one giving a slight variation on how you can tactically take on your opponent. Bouncing out a ring of this course allows for some awesome air battles. The elevation of the staircase on this arena can create some interesting fighting angles and makes you fight over getting the high ground. And my personal favourite course has dozens of those blob guys in tanks, and you can throw or punch your opponent through them. So that's my opinion on the core modes, mechanics and arenas of the game, but how about the rest? The connection was flawless, as far as I can remember. I didn't have a single disconnection, and there was no lag either, which is really impressive for a fighting game. Normally you get a lot of this. This is hopefully a good sign for the Nintendo Switch Online service, but where this game really shines is in its performance and graphics. Performance of this game is absolutely amazing, constantly locked at 60 frames per second and 1080p at all times. Obviously when playing on tablet it's only 720, but still keeping that locked 60 frames per second. Graphically the game is bright and colourful with detailed character models and arenas, and overall just has that Nintendo feel to it. So that's all I can really say on ARMS for now. I can safely say that after this test punch I am fully convinced I'm going to get this game on day one. Before this I wasn't too sure, I thought the game was going to kind of be gimmicky, but this really does play well and I do see this being a fruitful fighter for the next few years. Thankfully it's going to get updates like Splatoon did, with new characters and maps for free over time, and there's probably going to be some kind of like global event like they used to do with Splatoon and the Splatfests. Overall though, I hope you enjoyed this video, and for now, just enjoy the ARMS main theme.